Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Samuel Akem here, and I'm back with another one. Today, we are looking at Montana versus North Dakota. But first, L&M Fine Jewelry isn't just sparkle, it's tradition, commitment, and Montana craftsmanship you can count on. Whether you're celebrating a touchdown, an anniversary, or a new beginning, we've got the jewelry that makes every moment golden. Located on American Way in Missoula and Main Street in Kalispell. We are ready when you are. Go check out L&M Fine Jewelry, the official jeweler of Samuel Akem YouTube channel, as well as Akem's Analysis. Make sure you guys go check them out when you're looking for that ring for that special person. Let Michael and Landy take care of you. They do a great job. L&M Fine Jewelry on American Way in Missoula or Main Street in Kalispell. Montana got the 1-point victory against North Dakota yesterday, and we don't have the full highlights, like all the big highlights, the plays from the game, but we got the most important ones, the throws, some of the sacks. We're going to be looking at all the coverages. I got some thoughts I wanted to make about Ah Yat and, some of the coverages they were seeing. So make sure you guys tap in, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave me a comment down below, and we will get straight into it. Okay, Ah Yat had his first 300-yard game, and it didn't start off the prettiest for them, but he eventually figured it out. Montana got the 1-point victory, like I said. Eli Gillman had 16 carries, 82 yards, no touchdowns, but he did average 5 yards a carry, so right about where he should be. Here's one of his big runs in the first quarter of that game. Really good jump cut. I mean, really, really good job. Eli does a really phenomenal job. This is split zone, looking for that cutback lane, but everything just gets smashed down on the inside, so it's one-on-one with him in the corner. And he does a really good job of just being able to jump cut, being able to show you one thing like, oh, I'm going right downhill right here. And then at the last minute, being able to jump cut or make a move and make the guy miss. And then obviously this stiff arm they had an end zone view of that stiff arm, and it just looked like he was just pushing somebody off to the side. It was pretty cool. North Dakota's got the ball 2nd and 8. What are they going to do here? This quarterback, Kaminsky, man, his game was a little confusing. 17 of 40, 258 yards, 3 touchdowns, and interception, 43% completion percentage. So they had actually ran this earlier on in the game. Actually, like 2 drives before this, they had ran this play, and Kaminsky just barely missed it. And I think it was because Peck, the linebacker for Montana, or the edge rusher linebacker for Montana, D tackle for Montana, had kind of gotten to his face, gotten to his lap, and it kind of changed the timing of the throw. But what are we getting here right here? So condensed set for North Dakota. They really look like they're in a 13 personnel, or you can say 22 personnel, but 2 tight ends on the field as well as 2 running backs on the field, giving you the 22 with the 1 receiver. They're max protecting this, so they're keeping everybody into protection. There's 2 routes on, and it really ends up being like a Montana runs something similar. It's called a spear concept, and this is the same exact concept. You get an over from the backside to eat up the leverage and coverage over here. But in quarters, really, it ends up being the post throw. If that safety doesn't get depth, if they're occupied by something else, with that corner already having outside leverage, I've actually scored on a play exactly like this against Idaho back in 2018. But if that corner maintains his outside leverage, given because it's a condensed set, he's never going to be able to recover, especially if this receiver has good speed. It's an easy free release post route that he can catch and run all the way, which is exactly what he did. You see how the safety, that high safety, sitting a little bit too flat-footed. And honestly, this isn't quarters. This is cover 6. It might be quarters, but this corner's playing really low because they're tight right here. Either way, this is quarters on this side of the field. And because that safety sits so flat-footed, he doesn't even see the over. The over honestly probably eventually ends up open, as you can see right there. But that safety just doesn't get depth fast enough, and he's got width with Prince Ford over here on the corner. And it's a free release for BJ Fleming. BJ Fleming is actually an NAU transfer. He was at NAU last year. He only had about 130 yards receiving, or 150, something like that. He had 300 the year before, but he's a junior, so he's got a couple years left, and he looks like a really, really good player. He looks like the top guy for that North Dakota squad. Really good job, really good play, really good ball from Kaminsky. And the boy, so that was an 82-yard touchdown pass from Kaminsky, and that was his longest completion of the day. And then you had another 28-yard. They had another 41-yard reception, which was like 100 yards out of 2 receptions right there for Kaminsky. So when you start looking at his numbers and start thinking, how was he 17 for 40 with 258 yards and 3 touchdowns? It starts to make a little bit of sense. Now they got the 6-0 lead. They missed. I don't know if it got blocked or they missed it, but the PAT was no good. And here you go right here. Here's their second touchdown. They're going to jump out to a 13-0 lead on Montana. So they're getting a naked boot in here. And it's just a really good route. Lawler's in the corner at the corner. And it really just ends up being one-on-one. He's basically going to run a burst corner. You see how he initially gets to that inside stem, gets back vertical, and then gets out. Burst corner, burst out, whatever you want to call it. But it's an isolated route with one-on-one against Kenzel Lawler. And he just gives up the outside too easily. Kaminsky with a pretty damn good throw, moving to his left as a right arm quarterback, and it's really good lift and drag from the receiver right there. Lift and drag for the touchdown. Really good job right here. Really good job right here. North Dakota actually started out really strong in this game. They said they weren't going to be affected by the noise. They did have a few false starts. I think they maybe had three or four false starts, but it didn't seem to affect them early on in the game. That's for sure. You go right here. Really good throw. So they're going to run the out and ups here. Montana's in 12 personnel, 2 tight ends on the field. You're keeping them both in protection, and you're keeping your running back before he checks down to a flat. But even with the 2 tight ends, you got a 7-man protection here. You're trying to take a shot down the field. If you see the coverage from North Dakota, they're in a cover 3 right here. Corners got their eyes inside. One high safety. Corner got his eyes inside. A hook. They are bringing some pressure, which that's something that affected Ah Yat and the Montana offensive line later on in the game. We'll get to that. But out and up, you can't really see Bohannon down here, but he's going to run the out and up down here, as well as Brooks Davis running the out and up top. And Ah Yat with the beautiful throw off platform, a little pressure, and just launches it down the field in stride for Bohannon. Really good job from Ah Yat. Phenomenal job from Ah Yat. Really good play call from Coach Pease. Especially in a time they're down 2 scores. They haven't been able to move the ball the entire first quarter. They need a play. They need something to spark them. That was really the spark right there, man. And then you give it to Stevie Rocker on the inside zone the next play, and he's going to bounce it out. Another jump cut and get into the end zone. Really good job right there. And then the celebration that you see everywhere now. I guess it's on TikTok. I'm not familiar. Anyway, here you go right here. Once again for North Dakota, they're bringing pressure, and this is something that they did a lot, and I don't know if this is what they regularly do is bring pressure, or if they found something with the Montana offensive line and Ah Yat, his ability to adjust to the blitz, but they got man coverage here, man, one high safety, and they're bringing a blitz with their linebacker, so they're really rushing. They end up rushing forward, dropping a couple out into those immediate hooks right there. They brought the blitz. They get the face mask on it, but they're trying to heat up Ah Yat throughout this game. Really trying to heat him up throughout this game. He go 3rd and 1, under 11 to go in the third quarter. This is a really good run, man. Once again, split zone. Got that tight end coming across. Roar, the Tennessee transfer, and Eli Gillman just refuses to go down, man. Really strong runner right there for the big run on 3rd and 1. Here you go, 2nd and 7 coming up. And they're running the sail concept. So this is the sail concept to the front side. They're in a stack, and they're gonna switch release it. So Bohannon is running the over the top post, or what we call it, a take post, where he's taking the over top coverage away. Looks like they're in a cover 3 here. This corner's in a 3rd. This safety's in a middle 3rd, and this corner is in a 3rd, and then some hooks underneath. Depending on if they're bringing pressure or not, they are. So they got one hook underneath. Everybody else is blitzing. Like I said, they must have noticed something with the blitz, but he's running a corner route, sail route, but he's getting into that voided window in that deep 3rd down here. Once that take post takes the coverage over top, it's wide open out here in cover 3. Really good play call in cover 3, and good ball from Ah Yat. And good job of Davis to be able to find the window in the zone. Good ball from Ah Yat though. Good timing, good layer in the throw, and just beautiful execution from them. Beautiful execution right there. He go right here, 2nd and 10. North Dakota has got the ball back now, and it's still a 16-7 ball game. And Cade Boyd, man, he's going to get in there. Montana, as you know, is also going to bring some pressure. 12 personnel from North Dakota, 2 tight ends on the field. 12 personnel, 2 tight ends on the field, 2 receivers on the field, 1 running back. And there's a lot going on the back end of this because of the motion, so they're trying to shift with the motion because they're in man. So he's like, hey, you got that over there. He's locked in. Prince Ford is locked in down here, but they're basically shifting everything over to the right with the motion. And Cade Boyd just comes off the edge untouched from that Grizz position, and it's a really good. He gets the I don't know if you call this a pass breakup, but he gets the forced fumble by hitting the arm right there of the quarterback, And then the camera doesn't catch it, but Peyton Wing comes up with the interception. Really good play right there. And that was like the spark. Montana was really struggling throughout the second half. They were struggling much of this game offensively to get things going. And that turnover right there really was something that, I don't know, gave Montana's offense life. And the immediate next play, I talked about North Dakota running that spear concept earlier on in this, and you're gonna get Brooks Davis running the spear concept on the immediate next drive after that turnover. So once again, Bohannon on the take post over the top. I believe they're in a cover 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this is your high safety right here. They're in a cover 3, but they're playing real low. It's 3rd and 1. Montana needs a first down. This is immediately after the turnover. Bohannon's gonna, and it's honestly not cover 3. It's cover 1. They're running man coverage with a low high safety, middle safety. But Bohannon's going to run the take post over the top, and Brooks Davis gets a free release inside to take that deep over. And it's a really good ball from Ah Yat, really good route from Brooks Davis. You'll get to see the end zone view of it, but just beautiful execution in a critical situation. 3rd and 1, getting down to the wire, little time left in the third quarter, and you need a spark for your offense. And beautiful play right there. Once again, Brooks Davis did the same celebration as gosh, why am I blanking on his name? Stevie Rucker. Here you go, though. You get to see the release, the inside release from Brooks Davis. Really, really good job to dive hard inside, push back vertical, then a good stick to get to that over. Really, really good job right there. Stick his foot in the ground, get over. And the ball, the anticipation with a little bit of pressure in his face from Malachi McNeil of North Dakota. Beautiful execution from Ah Yat and the Grizzlies, man. Beautiful execution. That brings the score to 16-14. North Dakota still leading, but Montana is closer now. Cover 3 for Montana, but they're running it for North Dakota. And oh my goodness, man. I saw this hit. I mean, all the way from the press box, you saw this hit, and oh my gosh, like Seidel. This is Seidel. Can't remember his first name, but Seidel. He had 13 carries, 48 yards, and this was his longest carry for 15 yards. And man, that hit stick right there was something serious. My goodness, man. What a hit. What a hit. Here you go. Close to a minute to go in the third quarter. They're in 13 personnel. Once again, condensed set. They're running counter, quarterback counter. It looks like they're running front side GH counter. And this actually might even be pin and pull. It gives counter vibes though. But either way, G scheme, pulling some pullers around, and their running back ends up being the lead blocker with that H back being able to maybe pick somebody up. But really big run from Kaminsky. This was his long run of the day for 40 yards, and he gets down inside Montana territory. So really, really big run from the Fighting Hawks, and at a time that Montana could least afford it. When they're down by 2, they're mounting a comeback, and they're close, man. They were close. Here you go. Start of the fourth quarter. Look at these third down numbers: 4 for 14 and 4 for 13. I mean, man, it was an interesting game, all throughout. So here you go right here, start of the fourth quarter, and they're gonna basically run like a lot of times what teams do right here is they run this, and this is really good because it ends up being man, but it doesn't end up being man because Prince Ford is cocked inside, basically with eyes on the quarterback. But then you have, I think there's Michael Harper right here who's playing man coverage on the inside receiver, number 2 receiver. What they're gonna fake like they're running is a slope concept. What we called it was a slope concept. So he is gonna rub, and I was calling this because I remember seeing it on the Portland State game. I saw them run this concept, and I know Montana knew they ran this concept too, because look, they're gonna switch it. And this is beautiful play design by North Dakota. This is called self-scouting, what North Dakota was doing. North Dakota ran this concept against Portland State, and it was a touchdown on the slant right here. Caught the touchdown. It was number 2, but he caught the touchdown. What they're gonna do now is it's called a wrinkle off of that slope concept, slant concept. They're gonna run that, and it's gonna seem like number 2 receiver is trying to get the rub on Prince Ford, and instead of getting the rub, he's gonna act like I'm going to rub against Prince Ford. As they expected, Montana's gonna switch this off in anticipation to counteract that slant. So well played by Montana, looking at the scouting report and the players and remembering to do it in the situation. But North Dakota one-upped them by self-scouting and running the wrinkle off of the slope. So basically, the receiver went this way, looking like he was gonna rub rub for number 4, and in actuality he's going on basically like a loop angle route or like a slant back to the inside for the touchdown. Amazing self-scouting, really good ball from Kaminsky under pressure right here with Denzel Wilkinson in his face. Really good job, man. I mean, phenomenal play calling. This was a really fun football game to watch. I cannot lie. Both sides of things. But the self-scouting from North Dakota right there is genius and beautiful work, man. Beautiful work. I can't be mad at that, man. That's really good ball. That's really good ball. Tackle for loss right here or tackle for no gain. It looks like a tackle for loss for North Dakota. And this is the point in the game where it's like Montana's got a ton of time left, but they're down by 9. They gotta make something shake, man. They gotta make something shake. And it just seems like North Dakota found something with bringing pressure. So this isn't man coverage. This is going to be cover 3. It ends up being locked up with this single side receiver down here, Brooks Davis. But this is cover 3 up here, a third. He's in a curl flat. And then you got a deep high safety right here with a hook in the middle. But they're bringing pressure. They're bringing this backer. They're bringing this end. And everybody's blitzing. They have 5 to protect with the running back also. So 6 to protect. And they're bringing 6. So 6 on 6. That end ends up beating the tackle, and that's what ends up being the difference, man. That's what ends up being the difference. They get the sack right there on 2nd and 4. Here you go. You got a 1st and goal for Montana, and once again, man, the pressure that North Dakota was bringing, Montana. I mean, I don't know if Ah Yat is coached up on being able to, and it's not even Ah Yat. But I mean, he's got his line is going in the right direction. Honestly, he probably needs to slide him to the right this direction. But maybe he didn't think this guy was going to drop out. And I don't know if Ah Yat has been coached up on how to ID protection, be able to ID where the blitz may be coming from, and able to slide your line in the correct direction. I don't know if he's there yet. But the guard misses on, not the guard, the tackle misses on this. The tackle should be attached to his guard's hip and should be helping inside. This is a one-on-one for Eli Gillman. You got to get inside, and he notices it late, but then there's 2 free, and it's just all bad. So this is honestly on the offensive line. This is on that right tackle right there, and not to be harsh on this offensive line, but they struggled with this yesterday a ton. But they get the sack right there in the red zone. So not ideal with Montana in field goal position, trying to potentially score, but at the very least get 3 so that they're within a touchdown game. And then here, he doesn't have enough. He's not going to have enough to block these guys. There's 6 in protection. They got 4 wide with 1 running back in the backfield. It's 0 coverage. There's no high safety. He's playing man on the tight end. He's playing man on your number 2 receiver. He's playing man on your number 1 receiver, and he's playing man locked up back there. And honestly, these guys get open because in this coverage, they know they're vulnerable to virtually everything. I can get an out here. I can get an in here. I can get a vert here. Like these guys are vulnerable. Where their hope is that the rush is going to get there. And you can see number 4 waiting on it. He's got his eyes in the backfield the whole time. He's hoping the rush gets there because you see he gets run by. Now, maybe he got run by because he has his eyes in the backfield. But Ah Yat is not going to have enough to protect this. He doesn't have enough to protect this. You got 6 protectors. They're blitzing 7. What you need to do is, and honestly, this may not work because they drop somebody out, but you need a hot. You need somebody on a quick, and a lot of times when I played in the USFL, this was a side adjust. This is something that you see 0 coverage. You're the most inside receiver. You're the hot. So you got to be able to adjust. We'd run it like a skinny right here, like a skinny slant or like a post, something to the inside to give eyes to the quarterback, to give him an outlet, an immediate outlet, because he's not going to be able to protect it all. He's not going to be able to protect it. I mean, he's got all his blockers. Eli Gillman's on the edge, but there's just going to be 1 extra. There's always going to be 1 extra. So you got to be able to get to the hot. And I don't know if Montana has this in their offense. When I was there, that wasn't something that we were coached up on all the time. It was something that I didn't learn until I got to professional football. But you got to be hot. This got to be hot. Or even if you get something to the flats, you get something to the flats to the outside, you need an immediate outlet to be able to alleviate some of that pressure. He doesn't have it, and he takes the sack. And it's just a nature of the offense right here. I mean, the protection is not wrong here. It's just there's no route that gives him an immediate out. And if he wanted this guy drops out, which is a lot of teams will do. They'll run 0. And then it'll be a simulated pressure. They're still bringing a little bit of pressure, but they'll drop the 2 D ends out to play quick hooks to pick any hot, and maybe he could have dropped it off to Brooks Davis here, but I don't know. Maybe he didn't know he was hot, and maybe he doesn't know how to ID 0 pressure. Maybe he doesn't know all that. So there's that as well. But that is the explanation for what happened right there. Not ideal. They take the sack in the red zone. in field goal position. Great job of Ty Morrison to be able to secure that field goal with just enough time for their defense to get a stop. They got 3 timeouts. They didn't even have to use any of their timeouts, but they're back on it right now. Once again, North Dakota is still bringing pressure, given that this was something that Montana seemed to struggle with, which you can tell it was definitely something Montana was struggling with. They're in man this time. They're going to go man with, he's basically your quarterback spy. Basically your quarterback spy. And everybody else is in man. So man coverage here, one high safety, man. And it's protected pretty well. It's just nobody's open down the field. And this is so funny. This receiver's calling for the ball. You got to see the safety, my brother. You are not open. But basically, this just looks like verts. This looks like verts, and these guys are bending it. I don't know why they're bending it because it's one high safety, but they're bending it, and nobody's open. So Ah Yat's gonna try to scramble, and he's gonna get taken down for the sack. Not ideal, man. Not ideal. They get saved with the flag. It was horse collar, but just not ideal right there. Timely penalty right there for Montana. You're gonna get a quarters right here, quarters coverage right here, and another sack. So they're not bringing pressure this time. They're only rushing 4, and Pamphilov, the left tackle, is just gonna get beat here by this end. Just a really good rush from this end, and I mean, it's just inexcusable. Some of the inequities with this offensive line, it's just inexcusable for some of these guys, especially this left side where Liam Brown and Pamphilov have the most experience on that offensive line. At times, it just seems like this offensive line is not in sync, not on the same page, and that's an example of it right there. You're rushing 4, you got 5. This should honestly probably be a double team right here with Liam Brown and Pamphilov, but it's not, and it's a sack instead. Tough play for Montana, which puts them in a 4th and 12 situation when you got to have it. 1:51 to go. They still have 3 timeouts, but there's not a ton of time on the clock. They could get a stop. They have 3 timeouts. Like yes, they still are in a decent position even if they didn't get this first down. But ideally, you would love to get this first down. And so 4th and 12, it's going to be, they're just going to play coverage. Either they're playing coverage. It's like a cover 3. It's a cover 3. He's in a third. He's in one high middle. He's in a third. He's in a curl flat, but there's nobody really pushing him to that curl flat, so he's just going to stay deep. And then a deep hook and a hook in the middle as well. They are still bringing pressure. They're blitzing. This is a safety. They're blitzing that safety off the edge, dropping that end out to cover that hook. But they're still rushing 5, which they have 5 to protect, so they should be good. And this is probably one of the better protected plays of the day. Ah Yat's got a ton of time in the pocket, and he's got time to survey the field. Nothing shows up, so he scrambles to the left. Really, really good job of Josh Gale, to notice that Ah Yat's going to need an outlet. He scrambles out, and Ah Yat on the move to his left throws a beautiful ball. Beautiful ball. And this was honestly one of the plays of the game, man. One of the plays of the game for Ah Yat and for Montana. They may not and probably don't win this game. The North Dakota game, if they don't convert this 4th and 12. It just makes things so much harder. I'm sure their probability goes way down if they don't convert this. I'm sure when they did convert this, their probability of winning went way up. And it's just a phenomenal play. Really good job for the offensive line to be able to protect, and really good job of Ah Yat to stay poised despite being hit multiple times, staying poised in the pocket and being able to complete that pass down the field with the game on the line. So here's the game-winning touchdown right here from Brooks Davis. They're gonna run a sluggo, and it's man coverage. They're bringing the blitz again, but they're trying to bring a stunt, but they're bringing pressure. They have max protection, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in to protect. The running back staying in protect. You got a tight end in to protect, and you have all your offensive linemen in protect. 11 personnel. This is a one-sided concept. I mean, obviously, I think you're running a vert. What are you running over here? You're running something over here to the backside, but really this is the concept. You run the sluggo on number 27, who had gotten a few holding calls. He was being handsy, all that stuff, and then you got the whip route on the inside. But the protection is what makes this play. You need a little bit of time to let this route work itself out. Ah Yat gets just enough time, and this guy is coming around to make a hit on the arm of Ah Yat, and he makes the throw with, I don't even know if he was fully planted into the ground, but he made the throw, and really good route from Brooks Davis. Phenomenal route from Brooks Davis, the redshirt freshman, 2 touchdown game, scored his first touchdown of his career in this game, and scored the game winner for his 2nd touchdown of his career. Really, really good job. Phenomenal play from Montana. Once again, here you go, get to look at the protection. Decent protection, was closing in on him, but he gets the ball out to Brooks Davis, and that was the game winner. They hit the PAT, and the defense ended up getting the stop. But phenomenal game from Montana, phenomenal resilience from Ayat and all the boys on the Grizzlies. They get the victory. They will play Indiana State next week for their third straight home game before they get Idaho Vandals at home. That's the big one. You don't want to look past anybody, but Indiana State next week. So you guys let me know what you thought about this game. What did you guys think about Ayat? What did you guys think about Brooks Davis? What did you guys think about the offensive line, the defense? You guys let me know in the comments down below, and I will catch you guys next time. See you later.